So it'll be Magic and the Lakers, Michael and the Bulls. It is a marquee get-together.
Michael against Magic. This is my first time to the finals. Hopefully we can win.
Jordan wasn't expected to do much. You know, he came from North Carolina, averaged 19 a game. He was the college player of the year before. So that Chicago Bulls team was terrible. And he comes into the league and lights it on fire. You know, averages 28 a game as a rookie, starts in the All-Star game. Every organization, and I mentioned this before, every championship organization has that aha moment where...
The GOAT debate. Jordan versus LeBron. You've heard a million times. 6 rings versus 4, perfect finals versus longevity. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. This debate stopped being about basketball a long time ago. It's about culture. It's about power. It's about who defines greatness in a modern world. So let's dive in, because if you think this is just about who scored more points, you're missing the entire story. Michael Jordan isn't just a player. He's a myth. The man who never lost. The man who turned every game into a movie, every finals into destiny. His perfection wasn't just on the court. It was in the story around him. 6 for 6. Flu game. The last shot. Jordan didn't just win basketball games. He became the gold standard of greatness. You can't question him because he feels untouchable, like a legend passed down instead of a man who actually played.
Jordan was under a microscope. And you got to remember, even though LeBron is clearly the biggest star, right, there are a plethora of stars in the NBA because the NBA has globalized its brand.
LeBron James is the opposite. He's not a myth, he's a story. And we've lived every chapter. The kid from Akron with no father, raised by his mom, crowned the chosen one before he ever dribbled in the NBA. And unlike so many hyped stars, he delivered. For 20 years, we've watched the struggles, the betrayals, the championships, the losses, the triumphs. LeBron isn't a myth we look back on. He's a journey we're still watching unfold. That's why his fans ride for him so hard. They don't just see a player. They see a man who turned pressure into power. Here's where the war really starts. Jordan fans scream, 6 for 6, end of debate. LeBron fans scream back, all-time leading scorer for MVPs, 10 finals appearances. But this debate isn't about who scored more or who has more jewelry. It's about what we value. Jordan gave us perfection. LeBron gave us evolution. One defined an era. The other stretched across 2 decades, across eras, still rewriting history. Do you worship flawless glory or the grind of longevity? This is where the debate leaves the court completely. Jordan gave us Be Like Mike. He turned sneakers into religion. He became the face of 90s cool. His competitive fire was ruthless, untouchable. LeBron? He gave us a different culture, empowerment. A player who controlled his destiny, built his own teams, spoke up when others stayed silent, built schools and businesses beyond basketball. Jordan is a brand. LeBron is a movement. Which one means more? That's the real question fans are fighting over. Jordan was drafted into a broken Bulls franchise and turned it into a dynasty. LeBron entered the NBA carrying impossible expectations and somehow lived up to them. But here's the twist. Jordan never had social media, never had 24/7 coverage. Every LeBron dribble, every loss, every gray hair has been analyzed, criticized, turned into memes. Jordan was perfect because he existed in an era where flaws could be hidden. LeBron has had to chase greatness with the world watching every misstep. The pressure wasn't the same, and maybe that makes his story even crazier. This debate isn't even about Jordan or LeBron anymore. It's about us. It's about generations. If you grew up in the 90s, Jordan is your god. The killer who never lost, who showed you what greatness looked like. If you grew up in the 2000s and 2010s, LeBron is your king. The man who grew up with you, who showed you resilience, versatility, and power. This debate is really father versus son, old heads versus new blood, nostalgia versus evolution. And that's why it will never end. Jordan showed athletes how to become brands. Nike's empire built on his back. He was the blueprint. LeBron showed athletes how to become empires themselves. Production companies, schools, activism. The modern athlete doesn't just play, they build, they influence, they lead. That's the torch Jordan lit and LeBron carried. And maybe that's why this debate matters so much. It's not about jump shots. It's about what greatness looks like in a world we live in. Why do people cling to Jordan so fiercely? Because he represents perfection. The clean, flawless story arc: 6 rings, 0 finals losses. He fits our human desire for myths. LeBron? He's messy. He's had heartbreaks, failures, and public humiliation. But here's the catch. LeBron's messiness makes him more human. And that's why his fans love him. Jordan feels like a god. LeBron feels like us, striving, failing, evolving, but never stopping. The GOAT debate isn't just about basketball stats, it's about psychology. Do you want a perfect god or a relatable hero? This is the sharpest contrast. Jordan's most iconic moment came when he could barely stand, and he still dropped 38 points. LeBron's lowest moment? The 2011 finals, when he disappeared against Dallas. Jordan's weakness turned into legend. LeBron's weakness turned into memes. But here's the real difference. LeBron came back from his lowest point and rewrote his story, winning rings in Miami, then pulling off the greatest comeback in finals history in 2016. Jordan never had to bounce back from public humiliation. LeBron did, and that's a different kind of greatness. Two plays define their legacies. Jordan's last shot in '98, the perfect ending to a perfect career arc. It looked like a movie scripted in Hollywood. LeBron's chase down block in 2016, raw, chaotic, improvised. It wasn't destiny. It was desperation. That block was the symbol of his career, fighting against the odds, clawing history out of thin air. Jordan's greatness feels inevitable. LeBron's feels earned. And that's why people argue, destiny versus fight. Which one is truly greater? In Jordan's time, the media was controlled by newspapers, magazines, and TV. He could craft his image carefully, and everything around him fed the myth. LeBron? He lives in the wild west of Twitter, Instagram, memes, and podcasts. One bad night, and the whole world sees it instantly. Jordan's legend thrived in protection. LeBron's story survived under a microscope. That's why older fans don't get it. They never saw their hero torn down live in real time. LeBron has lived under 24/7 fire and still came out standing. Let's be honest, the GOAT debate is just as much about sneakers as it is about stats. Jordan didn't just dominate basketball. He changed culture forever. Air Jordans made him immortal. They turned athletes into fashion icons. LeBron? He may not have the same sneaker mystique, but his Nike lifetime deal proves something else: staying power. Jordan is the origin. LeBron is the evolution. And for younger fans, LeBron represents the era of players owning their brands, not just wearing them. Jordan created sneaker culture. LeBron created player power culture. Which one actually matters more in the long run? Jordan globalized basketball. He took the NBA from an American league into a worldwide empire. But LeBron expanded that empire even further. Today, kids in China, Africa, Europe, they don't just watch the NBA, they live it. Social media, highlights, merch, camps. LeBron has become the face of basketball in the internet age. Jordan lit the fire. LeBron poured gasoline on it. And now, basketball isn't just a sport. It's a universal language. What's legacy really about? Is it trophies in a glass case? Or is it what you leave behind for people after you're gone? Jordan left a legacy of winning, of being the ultimate competitor. His statue in Chicago will stand forever. LeBron's legacy is different. It's schools, businesses, documentaries, and players who now take control of their own futures because LeBron showed them how. Jordan was the face of an era. LeBron shaped the future. Which legacy matters more? The perfect past or the ever-growing future? So when people say Jordan versus LeBron, they think they're debating basketball. But they're not. They're debating culture. They're debating perfection versus struggle. Destiny versus fight. Myth versus story. The GOAT debate isn't about basketball anymore. It's about what kind of greatness you believe in. And that's why it will never end. Because the answer says more about us than it does about them. So here's the truth. The GOAT debate isn't about basketball anymore. Jordan gave us the perfect myth. LeBron gave us the imperfect story. One feels like destiny. The other feels like humanity. And that's why the world will argue about this forever. Because choosing Jordan or LeBron isn't choosing a player. It's choosing what kind of greatness you believe in. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and the debate will never die. Because it was never meant to.